competencies to the job profile. So we'll talk about what is a job profile, how we have structured the MSLGroup job profile. We will have another application activity. We won't ask you to move around this time, but you will be working in small groups. And we'll do a little bit of goal setting. So I'll facilitate just maybe a few minutes, but then we'll be asking you to set some SMART goals. So first up, let's see, who hasn't I called on me yet? Angela, would you read the definition of a job profile?
An internal description of a particular work function that includes elements deemed necessary to perform the job effectively.
Thank you. So this aspect of the definition, elements deemed necessary to perform the job effectively. This is what we are talking about when we are talking about performance criteria. Another aspect of this definition I want to point out is that a job profile is an internal description. So this is compared to a job description, which at MSLGroup we use to describe an external job description. So job profiles are structured a little bit differently than we have written our job descriptions. They're more targeted to internal roles, knowledge, skills, and abilities, and performance criteria, whereas job descriptions are structured in a way to attract talent, talk about knowledge, skills, and abilities you are required to demonstrate to achieve that position, and then what you'll be doing in that position, right? So a little bit different semantics. For the purposes of our conversation today and moving forward, we're talking about job profiles as it relates to your talent development. So this is the MSLGroup job profile. Currently, there are 9 profiles in existence. Of course, there are many, many, many more roles and functions than just 9, but we have to start somewhere. And so we have created job profiles for the account associate to senior vice president levels, as well as the managing director. My team is working very hard and very diligently to iterate additional job profiles for specialty roles, shared services roles, and then of course the slew of roles that PBJS employs. So next up are those specialty and shared services roles. Question I get when I talk about this in training is, what do I do? And we started to talk about this a little before. What do I do if I don't have a job profile? How do I know what my performance criteria is? So we talked about it a little bit. What do you do if you don't have a job profile in existence? Stephanie?
Look at the core competencies, or what we're calling them.
Yeah.
Are they core competencies still?
The competencies, what we just went through, the maps?
Yes.
Yes, you can reference the competencies.
And how those apply to your.
And how those apply to your specific role, absolutely. So you want to have a conversation about those competencies. As a first step, you'd want to talk to your manager. So the job profile articulates the performance criteria for that specific role. If you don't have a job profile, the first step you should take is to talk to your manager. Talk about what that performance criteria is. Make sure you're on the same page. Perhaps you could even bring examples of what you believe to be part of that performance criteria. A second step, if talking to your manager is not an option for whatever reason, or you would just prefer a different route, again, Christina Zickery, your HR leader, is very, very knowledgeable in all of the job roles and functions of MSLGroup and can be your assistant or your supporter in determining that specific performance criteria for these variety of roles. Okay, so let's talk about what this profile contains. Up front at the top is a role summary. So currently this is the same on every profile. And I think you'll agree that when we say MSLGroup employees are social, vocal, and actively engaged with the conversations that shape the world in which we work. MSLGroup employees also reflect our core values. Does anybody remember any of those we talked about earlier? Diversity at work, passion for clients, entrepreneurial spirit, global opportunities. Absolutely, well done. So yes, the MSLGroup employee reflects those core values, and then does anybody know our purpose as an agency? How we articulate what we do? We're in the business of making our clients' voices matter. Absolutely. So the last part of our summary here says that we find new ways to help make our clients' voices matter in the conversation economy. So that role summary applies to everybody at MSLGroup, no matter what your job is. Then we have the performance criteria organized under our functional competency categories. So general business skills, creative skills, and leadership skills. These bullets are the performance criteria. These are going to differ from the competency descriptions, which reflect the knowledge, skills, and abilities. These are more task-focused. For instance, on this account executive profile, under creative skills, it says research, write, and edit content, and distribute via press release, fact sheets, pitch letters, and blog posts. That's very task-oriented and not the same as how we would describe the competencies. The last part of the job profile is the reporting relationship. So the profile will say that this level typically reports to a, in this case, account supervisor or senior account supervisor. So all of these job profiles that are in existence, and as we iterate new ones, are available online in our talent development section. So every employee has access to view these profiles. Viewing the profiles may also be a good starting point for those who do not have a profile in existence for their role.
Question.
Yes.
So for us who do not have profiles, the ones in the rule where it says the skills, those would be different. Like we would, like for me as an executive assistant,
Yes.
would it still be those same three, like general business skills, creative skills, and leadership skills?
Correct. Yes. All profiles will be organized under those categories to align with the functional competencies that we're trying to develop. So what is going to differ is that performance criteria. So what it says in here is going to be different for an account executive, for an executive assistant, for a finance director, all across the board. There will be some overlap, as you will see when we get into our activity. We have a lot of titles at this company. We have 8 levels from the account associate to senior vice president roles. So naturally there is going to be some overlap among the profiles, but there are also certain differentiators that you can use to help you understand what you need to hone, what you need to develop in terms of getting to the next level. Yes, Stephanie?
Do you know when there will be more profiles available? I know it's been a problem year over year for our company, for our people, because there aren't much profiles that match
Are reflective of your roles.
anything they do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yes, my team is currently working on them. We have several in development. I cannot say specifically a date right now, but working with Christina and Tara Lillian, Marie Prendergast, we understand that it is a priority.
So they won't be available for this year's performance review?
They may, just not immediately. So the deadline for this appraisal season is October 9th. So that's several months from now. Our hope is that we will have,
Is that a goal?
that is a, yes,
Okay.
that is a strategic objective of the North America HR team.
Okay. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what about
Been
if
looking
you
for
have
that
more
for
than
a couple
one?
years.
What about if we have more than one title? Can you give me an example?
Well, so like my title, we basically is what, senior account manager
Mm-hmm.
/ culinary content
Mm-hmm.
director.
Right, so we may not have a job profile for a culinary content director, so that would be a good opportunity for you to speak with your manager or with Christina about that performance criteria. So what elements of your job, are considered the performance criteria? How do you define that? And then you can work together to ensure that you and your manager are defining it the same way. So it's conversations. Okay? So the job profile can be used in many ways. Number one, of course, for performance management. So performance management, we're about to engage in conducting our self-appraisals or reviewing our employees. So you can use the job profile to help set measurable performance goals to ensure that we're performing at solid level against all of our performance criteria. Managers can also use the job profile to illustrate performance gaps and help to articulate how an employee needs to develop or what goals should be set to help them close those gaps or get to the next level. You can use the current job profile as well as the job profile of the level above for training and career development. Again, setting those stretch goals to help you continue to advance your strengths or setting developmental goals to continue to hone those skill gaps. Finally, recognition and rewards. So we use the profile as a baseline for performance. Remember when we were talking about the competencies, I said these competency descriptions are not a baseline for performance. That's what the performance criteria in the job profile does. That establishes the baseline for performance, and so therefore we can reward superior performance as we see it. So in terms of understanding the job profile in context with the competency map, flexibility is key. So we purposefully created these generic competency descriptions so that we could apply them across levels and functions. Different from years past, we are not breaking the competencies out across the levels. So we're not going to have a category that says, here's what business acumen means for a junior level, mid-level, or senior level. That's up to you to interpret and apply as appropriate. So flexibility is key. And we're already at the activity. Does anybody have any questions about what a job profile is or what to do if you don't have one authored for your specific role? Okay. So we'll get into our activity then. And if all goes well, don't pay attention to the times up here, but if all goes well, we'll actually be ending about 20-25 minutes earlier than planned. So I'm hoping to give you guys some time back. So what we'll be doing is breaking into groups, and the tables at which you're sitting are perfectly fine. If you wouldn't mind passing these out. Here, I'll give some to the other side of the table as well. So everybody is going to have one of these handouts. You can all fill it out. One person can be the scribe for the team. Either is fine. This handout is your guide for completing the activity. So what you're going to be doing is receiving a performance case. Currently, we only have job profiles for the levels I mentioned. So for the purposes of this activity, we are using those profiles in existence. But again, that should not prohibit you from thinking more broadly about how these competencies apply across the levels. So each group is going to get a performance case, 3 different cases, and these are real performance summaries that we've extracted from our halogen system. Each case describes an employee's strengths and areas for development, and it's up to you to understand what those strengths are, identify and understand what those strengths are, and map them to the appropriate competencies that they align with. So on the left side of the handout, you'll write I'm on the side with the strengths. So on the left side of the handout, you'll write the strengths. For instance, number 1, quality writing content. Their strength is quality writing. Produces a variety of writing content in a quick and efficient manner. So then on the next line, you would write that maps to content creation, maybe quality of work. If they do it efficiently and pay a lot of attention to detail, maybe that's even rigor and discipline. So there can be multiple competencies that map to these strengths. The same thing on the backside with areas for development. For instance, really great at interacting with clients over the phone, but once you get in person, has some work to do in terms of being a dynamic presenter. So that may map to presentation and storytelling. for example. So that's what we're doing as step 1 of the activity, identifying strengths and mapping them to the competencies. Again, can be more than one, and the areas for development and mapping those to the competencies. Then the next part of the activity is some goal setting. So using the job profiles and the competency map throughout this exercise, you're going to write stretch goals and developmental goals to help our employee. So one thing that we are really trying to introduce more rigor and discipline around this year is goal setting. Christina and the rest of the HR team in every office is going to be taking a very close look at all appraisals that are submitted, and we'll be pushing appraisals back if goals are not written in the SMART goal setting format. So we'll take a minute to talk about what that format is. For the strengths, you're writing stretch goals. So these are goals that are going to help the employee get to the next level. So maybe you look at the job profile you receive for their current level, compare it to the next level up, and write some SMART goals that are going to continue to help them develop those strengths, pushing that to the next level. The areas for development, you'll write some goals that will help them bring their performance up to solid for their level. Does that make sense? Okay. Then we're going to have a debrief as a group. You'll each present out the strengths, areas for development, and the goals that you wrote, and then we'll answer some questions. All right, so a little bit of facilitation on goal setting. So many of you may have heard of this SMART goal setting acronym that we use here at MSLGroup. So what SMART means is written up here. I'll talk you through it. Specific, you want to answer the 6 W questions. So this means you want your goal to say who, what, when, where, why, and how. I know that's not a W, but throw that in there. So who, what, when, where, why, and how. You want your goal to be measurable. So you want to ask questions like how much or how many. Some quantifiable metric so you know you've achieved something. Attainable. You want to ask yourself, do I have the knowledge, skills, and abilities to achieve this goal? If I don't have the knowledge, skills, and abilities, then my goal should be to develop those, achieve those, so that I can then achieve the overarching objective. Realistic. Am I willing and able to achieve this goal? Of course, we're all willing to achieve the goals that we set for ourselves. We have much intrinsic motivation. Being able to do so is quite a different thing. Ability refers to time, resources, including people and money. So while you may have every intention, your goal may not be realistic if you don't have the ability to achieve it. Finally, time bound. So you want to make sure that every goal is grounded in some sort of time frame. So by when am I going to accomplish something? Set a benchmark date or time frame. Within Q4, within the next 2 months, something like that. So again, we're going to be looking very closely at these goals. So the practice here is being able to articulate the goal in writing in this format. Okay? So I'll leave this slide up. Again, don't pay attention to the time. It's about, it's about 11 o'clock right now. We actually are a little behind on schedule. So we'll take about 20 minutes to work in small groups, and then we'll have about 20 minutes of share out. If we can stay on that time frame, we can get you out of here a little bit early. So Christina and I will pass out your cases and be available for any questions you may have. All right, so thank you for sharing those first 2 challenges as we talk through the strengths and challenges. The last one here that we're going to address as we're reviewing, this individual, the account associate's job profile performance summary. You want to see her be more proactive when it comes to business development. So you mentioned business acumen. She needs to hone that skill. Maybe a little bit of thought leadership, which you mentioned as well. And then business growth would be another competency here that this would map to. So what are some of the developmental goals that you wrote for these areas of development?
So for proofing and error-free work, we put, which could be a few different goals, but we put meet with supervisor weekly to set expectations for error-free work and develop a system for proofing. So she can provide client-ready work within 2 months, like learning what the expectations are.
Mm-hmm. So the baseline, so you want her to achieve this development of producing error-free work within a 2-month time frame, and to do that, she's going to meet weekly and come up with a proofreading methodology that will work for her and her manager.
Right.
I love it. Does everybody see how that's a SMART goal? Okay.
So the second one is to share more thoughts and opinions. So this we put down as during her internal team meetings, to prepare for those meetings, to be able to present 2 to 3 ideas or opinions on work she's been producing.
Mm-hmm.
To inform her team members
Mm-hmm.
of what she's learned.
Okay. So make a point to share her point of view at monthly team meetings. You said monthly, right? At monthly team meetings, ensuring that she is bringing new ideas to the table for the work that she's doing.
Yeah, what's worked for her, there was a great vendor we did X program with,
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend them because of why, right? So.
Great. Love it.
And then for the volunteer for assignments, we said to be proactive. So I can put, it's hard to put a number on this, but maybe twice monthly, be proactive with her supervisor as well as across teams for opportunities for her to learn and contribute to different projects.
Yes. So that has the metric. It can probably be more specific if we knew exactly what she was working on, and the types of assignments that she has in her purview. But another way to think about this, if we're talking about business growth in particular, maybe as an account associate, you want to be a part of a organic or net new business opportunity at least once a quarter. Okay, well, great job. Any questions on Sarah or her goals for her team? Okay, well done. We're going to skip Mark. We did not assign the account executive profile. So let's move into account supervisor Brian. Is that this group in the middle?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about Brian. He's an account supervisor.
He is well versed in his client's business, which are health-related field.
Okay.
And the competency is rigors and discipline.
Okay.
He's a strong leader, a team player. He's known for his straight talk. And we actually put 2 for that. We said collaboration and cooperation and client engagement, just because it's internal client.
Okay, great. I'm just going to pause you for 1 second. So the first one you mentioned, he's well versed in the client's business. He's an invaluable resource to the team. He understands process, people, and the goals of the business. And you mapped that to which one again?
Rigors and discipline.
Rigor and discipline. I would absolutely say that applies. Just because it's not up here doesn't mean it can't apply in that instance. So being an invaluable resource, having that deep knowledge, he must apply a lot of rigor to his job. We also may identify here business acumen, being well versed in his client's business, client engagement, of course, and then collaboration and cooperation being that invaluable resource to the team. And then the next one you mentioned, tell me which competencies you mapped that to as well?
For the skilled presenter,
Yeah.
storyteller.
Oh, sorry, the one you just talked about. Strong
Client
leader, team player.
engagement and collaboration and cooperation.
Absolutely. So client engagement, absolutely strong leader, demonstrates best practices for his team. Rigor and discipline, I put that one here because of this part of the description where he has one-on-one meetings with his direct reports, and that shows a lot of rigor around performance management. And then the last part of this one is that he uses straight talk to constructively resolve conflicts, tension, and disagreements. And again, we want to think about negotiation when we think of conflicts, tension, and disagreements. Of course, collaboration and cooperation as well, but the ability to constructively resolve would be negotiation. And then you're about to tell me about the last strength.
So that he's a skilled presenter, storyteller, and that goes under presentation and storytelling.
Absolutely. So what are some stretch goals that we set for Brian?
So for his storytelling, we said that he could begin to write a blog or industry post, so like SlideShare or whatever, once every 1 to 2 months about current program highlights and successes.
Okay, and so he would be demonstrating his presentation and storytelling ability, also probably engaging in some thought leadership, which is probably required at the SAS level at a higher degree. I love that goal.
For his, being well versed in his business, his client business, we were saying that he could take on a bigger role with organic growth. Using his breadth of knowledge with the health clients and the health industry. He could join a related networking group or serve as an industry moderator at an event.
I love that. So let's make it a little bit smarter.
Every 3 months.
Join a new group every 3 months.
Oh no, that means at least every, I don't know. Yeah. Well, if you're at a networking group, they tend to meet.
Okay, so join a networking group and engage in at least one networking event every quarter.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
And then for his straight talk strengths, we said that he could leverage his leadership skills towards working a larger management role and build case studies about conflict resolutions and the successes and failures that he's done.
Within how much time and
Every quarter.
so produce a new case study and share that among his team each quarter to demonstrate best practices in conflict resolution.
Yeah.
Maybe even have a team meeting about it.
Great.
We ran out of time.
No, that's great. You guys are, I have to say, I know this is being recorded, but you guys are really doing great with the goal setting. Other offices, we've had to spend a little bit more time, so well done Seattle, well done Seattle. Let's move on to opportunity areas. So what are some of the challenges Brian has an opportunity to develop?
Brian is quick to provide his team with the easy answer and the things that we've already tried before. So his competencies that he needs to work on are innovation and creative strategy and ideation.
Nailed it. Absolutely. Does everybody see that? So he's bringing the same ideas. He's quick to rely on easy solutions. So we need to up his innovative thinking. We need to up his creative strategy and push that a little bit further. Okay?
The other one was that he needs to play a larger role in developing overall strategy. And we said strategic thinking.
Yep. He needs to play a larger role in developing overall strategy. Definitely something that's required as he moves up in our organization. Strategic thinking, creative strategy, and ideation. Another part of this challenge was that he specifically needs to focus on assessing risks and determining the best course of action. So we talked about, more senior levels make a little bit, you have different decisions that you make at those levels. So we need to ensure that he is prepared and able to make these, to assess the risks and make these decisions. So that's a little bit of judgment and decision making as well. What are some developmental goals that we set for Brian?
That he should research and present current industry trends, products, and services. One way he could do that would be by attending a related conference to work on these said skills within a time frame of, by the end of the quarter or whatever, I guess, the end of this takes place. And then we also said that he could work on new brainstorming techniques. So when their group meets for client brainstorms, they could try 1 or 2 strategies at each meeting, like different things to break his habit of tried and true.
Got it. So engage in more brainstorms.
Yeah.
He's accountable for bringing more brainstorm strategies to the table, engaging in those brainstorms within a certain amount of time, or maybe for a certain number of meetings moving forward.
Yeah, I said just 1 to 2 strategies per meeting.
1 to 2 strategies per meeting, and
Yeah.
these meetings happen frequently.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. That's great. I love it.
That's it.
Okay, let's move on to Kayla. Kayla is our vice president. She has strengths, but also some challenges.
Yep, she is great at networking, really gathers her clients' trust. She brings his to the table. She's able to make tough calls and really kind of help her clients find the right path, even when it might be a little bit, there might be some initial resistance.
Okay.
So client engagement, creative strategy, ideation, strategic thinking, judgment, and decision making.
There were a lot of competencies in that one, absolutely. Client engagement, strategic thinking, I heard you say as well, absolutely. Pushing these recommendations that are spot on, obviously, aligned with the strategy, maybe met with some resistance, so she has to use her negotiation skills, good judgment and decision making to make those tough calls. Way to go.
She's really good at identifying new work. She's increased stuff exponentially, so business growth, building new business organically, negotiation, business acumen, and business growth.
Okay. Business acumen, negotiation, and business growth all can apply here. Identifying organic opportunities, which has led to double-digit growth. She's a leader in pushing new offerings like employee impact.
She is very confident. She pushes back with clients to ensure the project stays within budget and scope. So this was a lot of financial stewardship.
Great. Rigor and discipline, financial stewardship, little negotiation, pushing back on the clients to stay within scope. Business acumen, assigning the right team members to the project to get it done the right way. Resource allocation, resource alignment would be business acumen.
Creativity.
The last one was creativity and creativity.
Yeah.
Creativity alone is not a competency. What do you mean?
We actually didn't get to this one.
Oh,
so,
that's all right.
We were kind of forward.
Okay, that's all right. So the last one, Kayla inspires her team members' creativity. She's always coming up with these breakthrough ideas and solutions. That maps to innovation, thought leadership, creative strategy and ideation. Absolutely. Okay, so what are some stretch goals that we have set for Kayla?
So within the next 9 months, we would like her to bring in $500,000 in net new business.
Is that a realistic goal?
Yes.
She has the time, the resources.
We'll get some more time with it.
Okay, so all things considered, sure, you've got the metrics in there, you've got the time bound in
All
there.
these things are scalable.
Totally scalable.
We'd
Okay.
like her to contribute to mine quarterly or monthly and speak at one conference within 6 months to kind of show some of her success stories along the lines of client engagement,
Mhm.
creativity, and leadership.
And though that would be, an expectation or a big part of an SVP's performance criteria as well, pushing her to that next level, speaking at conferences, demonstrating her thought leadership in her area of expertise, absolutely.
So the last one was increase her account profitability by 10% within the fiscal year by structuring account teams appropriately. So a little bit of delegation as well and finding the business acumen, finding the right resources.
Continuing to find the right resources. Maybe it's at the SVP level, ensuring that the VPs on her team are operating according to her strategy for that team to align those resources. Yeah. Love it.
So
Okay.
this one we started running out of time.
That's okay.
So
We talked about, so you got to some of the areas for development. Don't worry about what's up here.
Yeah,
We'll just
so-
have a conversation.
she needs to delegate better.
She needs to be a better delegator.
Yeah. So rigor, business acumen, etc. Her presentation and tools and tech need to be increased, and she needs to get better at that. So innovation, creativity, storytelling, content creation needs to be improved. And industry knowledge needs to be increased as well. So some thought leadership stuff.
Some thought leadership. Okay.
So we couldn't come up with a goal, a measurable goal for delegation.
That's okay. Let's talk through some of the, let's talk through as a group some of the challenges and the competencies you just went through because you're spot on. And then we'll talk as a group about the goals, okay? So you talked about how she needs to look beyond her day-to-day account leadership responsibilities and share her expertise and voice in a broader manner, so thought leadership. You talked about how she's so deep in her client's business that sometimes she's holding on to assignments where she could delegate more. So business acumen, collaboration, and cooperation. And then you also talked about how she needs to turn her creativity into results that people and the client can understand. And to do so, she needs to really up her game in terms of the technology and tools that she uses to present. So you mentioned presentation and storytelling. You mentioned, I think, creative strategy and ideation, innovation, absolutely. So you were about to say you couldn't necessarily think of
A measurable goal for
a
delegation.
measurable goal for delegation. Does
We ran out of
anybody?
time.
Only because we ran out of time. Okay, so let's put it to the audience. Let's help her out. As a team, let's write a goal for Kayla that will help her get some of these items off of her plate and it'll free her up to be more strategic, operating at a higher level.
I guess it's not clear to me, is she down in the weeds doing project work, or what is it?
Yes, let's
What is
say,
it that
yes,
she
let's
needs
say
to
that she retains work that could be given to more junior employees. So let's call it, she has 5, I'll put a number on it for you guys. She has 5 assignments that can easily be offloaded to more junior level employees, freeing up her time to be more strategic. So how can we write a goal to offload those 5 responsibilities? Tyler.
Hold weekly meetings, maybe the start of the week, with junior level employees, go over the work. I'm guessing this is new work that's coming in continuously.
Sure, could
and
be.
delegate at those weekly meetings based on the current bandwidth.
Absolutely. So have a weekly meeting every Monday in which she delegates the 5 items that are taking up some of her time to members of her team. That would be a SMART goal on a weekly basis to delegate those items. Another way to think about it is if we're looking for long-term success, if she's got these recurring responsibilities, maybe we could say effectively transition 5 tasks. You would specifically list out what they are as you write the goal. Effectively transition these 5 tasks to these 5 team members or 3 team members within 90 days, freeing up personal work time to XYZ. Be more strategic, however you're going to use that time. So effectively transition assignments to other employees. Additional goals on thought leadership or presentation and storytelling?
So attend 2 trainings or MSL Academy sessions to help garner additional knowledge around industry-leading tools and tech.
Great. Within the year, and then how do we know she has improved this skill?
She's gonna report back.
Of course she's going to report back. Maybe she'll even do a lunch and learn on what she learned in training.
Or she'll post it online, which is one of her.
Demonstrating her storytelling and presentation skills.
And then attend 2 conferences to help bolster industry knowledge and report back to the team in 6 months.
Okay, so at a VP level, is it acceptable just to attend and report back to the team? Or do we want to maybe push them, again, thought leadership?
To present back and lead through example.
Exactly. Maybe it's, retaining what you learned at these conferences, sharing it back with the team, and then authoring a white paper.
Yes, definitely. She'll do that.
She'll do that.
When she delegates her time.
When she gets those projects off her plate, she'll have time to author a white paper and get thoughts.
It's smart to delegate the writing on the white paper.
All right, so that concludes our job profile discussion, SMART goal setting activity. The final thought that I will leave you with today, and hopefully I'll see you back here in a little bit for the performance management training. This is our career development plan. So this is a resource for you to input goals and track your progress. So the career development plan asks you to input your goals. So the SMART objective, the statements you just wrote, describe the specific actions that you're going to take in order to achieve that goal. The results that you hope to achieve, so what does success look like? It helps you to think about how you're going to get there. Again, what does that success look like rather than just the tasks I have to accomplish to meet the goal? And then timing, so you have an end date, a checkpoint, a benchmark by which something should be completed. So on this career development plan, we have 3 sections: career goals, business goals, and personal goals. So business and personal development goals are goals that you set as a part of the performance appraisal. You will be entering at least 3 to 5 business and personal development goals. So the best time to use this form is as an outcome of those conversations once goals have been finalized. The career goals is a new section. We haven't asked you to set career goals, formally before. But this is an opportunity for you to focus on short and long-term career goals, more higher level. These will come out of conversations that you're having with your managers during the performance discussion when you're thinking about what additional specialties or practices or geographies you may want to tap into, how you see yourself growing in your role and at this agency or outside of this agency. Think long-term. So one of the things that came out of our employee engagement survey across North America was a much higher need from employees for this career planning, pathing, coaching, attention to, what comes next for me. So we've included this section. Hopefully it will stimulate some of these conversations. This is a resource. It's not going to be collected. It's not going to be uploaded anywhere. This is purely for you to organize your thoughts, track your progress. A tip, on this, maybe you have career development plan Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. It's a working document. You can constantly update it, add goals, track your progress, and then when it comes time to actually complete your appraisal, let's say next year, you can easily go back and see, oh yeah, in Q1 last year I did this, 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 and this. Because again, performance management and the appraisal covers an entire year's worth of his performance, not just the past few months. So this is a great way to track and manage or monitor that progress.
Does this live anywhere? Is it a static doc?
This is on Mind.
Okay.
It's a document you can download. So these are fill-in fields. So it's a locked form that you can enter your information in. You can insert additional rows and keep it as a working document. Yes. So that's it. That's it for the Navigating the Competency Map. Can I answer any questions?